I just wanted to tell you I really enjoyed that video.
Oh, good.
Excellent. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dorothy, and I currently live in Delaware.
Oh, well, hello, Dorothy. How did you hear about our meeting?
I was on Lorraine's call last Wednesday night,
Okay.
and I was able to obtain the information, and then I confirmed with her to make sure I had the correct number, and she was able to email the information to me.
Okay. Good. Excellent. So, Dorothy, is there anything in particular you're interested in learning about, or a situation going on that you need to address that you wanted to be in our class? I'm just trying to find out if there's something I can discuss that will help you.
Well, I have been in this program for about 6 years. I was originally in Sarasota, Florida when it all started. And I'm originally from North Jersey, so I thought I'd better go back to the Northeast because I wasn't sure how much time I had left on this earth, and I shouldn't be in Florida when my family is elsewhere. So I have been listening to some of the calls, getting up to date as to what's going on, and then following through with some emails. I'm on some of the people's email list, and sometimes I view some of the YouTube videos. It appears that a number of people are at a higher level in terms of getting their cases at a point where they probably could become part of a class action lawsuit. So I'm a beginner in that area because I have not my first FOIA request because I've heard information from both sides, so I'm not sure how significant it is. And some people say when they send the information, it's just a form letter saying, they can't confirm, whether or not, they have information about them. So I guess I need to get clarified as to what I really need to do in order to be prepared to join a class action lawsuit if and when that occurs.
I think the main thing is, hello, old man. Your audio will be on in just a second. It says you're connecting. You'll need to unmute. I think the main thing that you need to do to get ready for something like that is get your evidence together. That means document everything that you can. And then, maybe a good idea is to have a notebook documenting everything and put down as much documentation and detail as you can. I mean, that's going to be the main thing in any case is, your evidence. And then I would work on preparing an affidavit it would be an affidavit of criminal complaint and probable cause for arrest for blah, blah, blah. Name the people. And then that criminal complaint, what you can do is you can do a list of all the incidents that happen, like a running timeline of everything that happened. And then you use that running timeline as your criminal complaint, because that's going to be the basis of it. And even a civil complaint, your evidence for a case is going to be based off that timeline. So keep a running synopsis timeline of what, your evidence. That way you've got a running timeline with all your dates and everything handy, and you can just continue to update that and use that as your evidence in a case. That's going to be the most important thing in getting ready for a class action case, is to get your evidence together.
Okay. Now, in terms of evidence, do I include not only physical damage to my own body, but I have also had extensive damage to my house and car and property? Is that something that gets included as well?
Yes. Yes. All your damages. Yes.
Okay.
And then it'll be, if it's a class action, it's going to be up to the court and them to decide who gets how much and how that gets divided up. If you go it alone, you can ask for a certain amount and the judge or the jury will give you whatever they give you. So it kind of depends on whether you go solo or class action. But if you're going class action, they're going to decide all that for you. What's the damages, what punitive are you getting, and all of that. But include, your emotional damages, your property damages, if it stressed you and made you sick, anything that it was. Sorry, I got my hair caught up. Just, any and all of your damages, and then a jury or a judge, one or the other, will decide what are the punitive damage amount. So,
okay.
Yeah, keep a log of all of it and of your, dates, times, and all of that stuff.
Okay.
Hey, old man, how are you tonight?
I'm okay.
Good, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
We're just not getting a real big response yet. I think maybe it just takes time to keep doing them and keep posting the videos, and then people see that the information you have is valuable, and then they'll start coming. I don't know. It seemed like Chief Jones was saying, oh, everybody's waiting, but then when I tell them, okay, we don't have to wait anymore, you can come to my Zoom meetings, I'm not having a whole lot of them show up, so I don't really know. I had planned on having the website up by the time we started these Zoom meetings, and then that way I could send out the brochures and we could get some traffic that way, but
I've got an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you see if you can advertise your Tuesday night Zoom meeting on the PAX International website?
Okay. Does he allow that kind of stuff?
Well, they've got different vendors and stuff on there, and they've got different advertisements on there. Just call and talk to that guy. I cannot think of his name right off the top of my
Derek?
head. Derek, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I could try that. I'm going to go on Chief's call again tomorrow night and, let the people know again and see if we get any more that show up. I would think a lot of TIs are being harassed with, criminal cases and stops and stuff. I would think I would have more here asking questions about that, but I haven't.
I think, it's not easy to build the evidence to get a case going.
Well, it'll depend on how you're being stalked, how you're being targeted. I mean, if you're having property stolen, like myself, or you get beat up like old man, then, it's pretty easy to put together evidence. But if it's electronic harassment and, do weapons and all that stuff, yeah, it can be really hard to put together evidence. But on that, I would contact, what is her name? She called me the other day. She goes on Chief's calls. I think in my, planner book, I might have her number written down. But she goes on Chief's calls, and she is the one that's getting this Havana syndrome recognized.
What is Havana syndrome?
It's do weapons. They're calling it Havana syndrome for like military people. They've admitted it, and they're calling it Havana syndrome. And
okay, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Look up, try to Google Havana syndrome and see if you can find her. And she's doing some stuff on that, and she might be able to tell you more about how they're proving that and what they're doing. Because I think they're going to go in front of Congress and do a hearing, a congressional hearing.
Okay.
If they do a congressional hearing, then, there's got to be some way that they're evidencing what's happening. And maybe that's just taking pictures where you're burned or something. I know one girl, when she gets burned by like laser weapons and stuff, she will circle it, write the date. Like, she'll do it right on her arm. Like, if she gets burned right here, she'll circle it, and she'll write right on her arm the date, and then she'll take a picture of that. And, I mean, I don't know really how they're gathering evidence in that, but they must be, because it's being recognized by the military. Somebody's admitting to something, and they're getting some traction with the government admitting and stuff. So, maybe you can get somewhere there. I mean, other than to, circle a spot where you're getting hit and write the date, or if it's like something where it doesn't leave marks or anything.
Yeah.
Like, V2K, voice to skull stuff or stuff like that. I would just write down the date and time and what happened. I mean, I guess that's all you can do. Does anybody else have anything you want to discuss tonight?
When the lady was talking about evidence, one of the things the court looks at is if you make things in the form of a diary.
Of a what?
A diary.
Diary.
And you say, today's June 22nd, 2021, and at 12:31 p.m. today, such and such happened,
Uh-huh.
and write it in ink. And then the next time something happens, make your next entry. And that is a very strong evidence, because you're making it at the time it happens. You're not going back and using memory. So the court looks at that as being a stronger type of evidence. Everything that relates to any claim, and a claim is what the attorneys use as far as filing a lawsuit. If you're filing a claim, anything that's associated with your damages is evidence. So it's a matter of, you can be audio, can be visual, it can be your diary, it can be telephone calls that you recorded. In Texas, we are a one-party state, so if you are making the recording on the phone, then that's legal. There are some states that are two-party states that they have both parties to agree to the recording. So, at least in Texas, and you can look at whatever state you're in.
Yeah,
and
North
see if it's a
Carolina's a one-party state.
Yeah. So, telephone recording's good. A lot of people will say things as long as nothing's recorded. I have a body-worn camera, and when I bought my first one, I went out one night to a restaurant to pick up a meal for my wife and I wanted to see the quality of the video at nighttime. So I turned it on as I got back in the vehicle. I went 1.5 blocks, and a man sideswiped me, and it's all shown in the video very clearly.
Wow.
I had the camera on my chest, and it was nighttime, and quite often I wear black, and so it didn't show up. And this is what my body-worn camera looks like. And it's upside down. I'm recharging it right now. But I had that on my chest. He didn't notice it at all. He tried. It was a hit and run, and so as I called one, it picked up my telephone recording of everything I said. It could not hear the phone conversation of the 911 operator, but it's easy to, know what she was saying. She was asking for information. So finally decides that he can't get away from me, so he pulls over. I get out of the car, and he said, "Why'd you hit me?" And I said, "I didn't hit you. You hit me." He said, "Oh, no, you hit me." It says, "Didn't you see me?" I said, "Yeah, I saw you." He said, "Well, there was plenty of room." I said, "Well, evidently not." So he knew I was there, and his statement of, "Well, there was plenty of room," shows that he had looked and that he made a decision to pull over. So got out, I continued to talk to him until the police showed up, took the report, and left. And all of that time, he never noticed I had my body camera on.
Wow.
So I've had, that was in December 27th of 2019, back around December 7th of 2019, I had a young girl hit me, but I didn't have a dash camera or a body-worn camera on. But I just got my new dash camera in tonight that is a high-quality one. So I've had 2 people in 1 month. I've been assaulted several times, and without video, and I've got video on each of these assaults, without video, it's my word against whoever.
Yep.
My latest incident was back April 5th. A friend of mine and I were walking in a neighborhood, and we had flashlights. We get out of the car, get onto the public sidewalk, walk down the sidewalk. We have our flashlights out. I go to the corner, turn left, go down that street on the sidewalk, and realize my friend didn't keep up with me. So I'll go back a little bit, see there's a young man out with a baseball bat yelling at him because he had his flashlight on. Well, people use a flashlight at night, you know. So anyway, the thing to my friend, like you're trying to rob or steal our truck or something. Well, no one's going to use a flashlight,
Right.
especially these that we use that are high powered. So anyway, trying to make a long story short, or shorter, that the father comes out and exchanges words with my friend. We say, just leave us alone. We're leaving the area. Walk back to the corner. He comes down with a baseball bat swing within 10 foot of me and lunged about 4 times. When he
What?
moved up in the 6-foot range and swung his baseball bat at me, then I got him in the face with pepper spray. Didn't say anything to him. So without that video, everything is on the homeowner's word because that's not the town that I live in. So
Yep.
they're going to take him word. And so he made a sworn statement, and I went to jail that night. So did my friend. So, you know, you need, or at least I feel like I need in my life, a body-worn camera. And so now I wear it. Anytime I step outside the house, I've got it on me. You know, these cameras do not lie. People tell lies.
Yep.
It's amazing how somebody, even if they know you have a camera on,
Yep.
will still lie about what happened. In fact, this man said that we had gotten off of the walk, went up to his windows, and were peeking in the windows and shining our lights into the window. They changed their mind after they looked at the victim and said, well, maybe that they were wrong a little bit, that we didn't really come all the way up to the well, we were out on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So with cameras, without a video, prove. So I recommend that you get a camera. Anytime anything happens, pull your camera out, take a picture. The law of the land is if you're in public and you're where you legally can be in public, you can take a picture. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. I think, if you are targeted, you need to keep a camera around because oftentimes you're right, that is going to be the only thing that'll save you. And, for me, I lots of times had a cell phone in my hand, but got so triggered that I would just forget that I've got a camera in my hands. And so I started telling myself to just hi G8, think it's connecting you right now to audio, so you should be on in just a second. Yeah, I think camera is important, and then that's, you said keep a diary. That's exactly why I said do the running timeline. That's basically what you're saying is a diary, because if you record that as it's going along, then you have an evidence trail, and it's, you think that you're going to remember stuff. It was such an important day, or it was something specific, so you think you're going to remember it, but you're not. So the best thing is, like Old Man said, a diary, where you track it as it happens. And then that way, you always have that running timeline. And then, Old Man said that's extremely strong evidence. Hi, G8. Welcome to the meeting. You'll need to unmute if you want to There you go. Hi, welcome.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you. I have been trying for about 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you had trouble getting on. I'm glad you made it, though.
Yeah, me too. How are you?
So, is there anything that you had questions on or anything specific? We're just kind of doing a free flow tonight, just asking questions and discussing things. So, is there anything in particular that you're dealing with that you want to discuss as far as law?
I do, but I might have to just give thought. There's several things. I'll just get that for a minute.
Well, just feel free to unmute yourself anytime and jump right in. We're just, like I said tonight, we're kind of free-flowing it.
Okay.
Some people came in late, and some people have dropped out, so we're just kind of doing a little informal chat. Now, one of the reasons that, almost in every Zoom that we have, I want to talk about jurisdiction and I want to talk about traffic stops. And I know that, somebody had asked me, hey, can we not go over that stuff anymore? And I totally get, why if you're coming every week, you don't want to hear that every week. But let me tell you this. Number one, you probably do need to hear it every week because it takes a really long time to get unbrainwashed to things that we have thought were the law and that we've been saddled with for so very long and forced to comply with. And we're trying to teach you the truth of the situation so we don't get hooked up in that anymore. A lot of targeted people can, how do I put it? I don't know if I really want to say they become targeted from traffic stops, but traffic stops can be used to target people. And they've been very effective, and they can beat you up and steal your property and get you under worse criminal charges and all kinds of stuff if you don't know how to handle the traffic stops. So, like, knowing how to handle an encounter when it first happens is like one of the best ways to keep it from escalating and getting worse. Had I known the information today, the information that I know today, had I known this stuff, when they first started messing with me, I would probably avoided all those 26 different charges and court dates and all that stuff. So, almost no criminal case can be prosecuted because they almost never have an actual criminal case, in which case you would use a jurisdiction argument. Also, even in civil cases, tax cases and things like that, a lot of times they don't have jurisdiction. So,
going out.
Yeah, because they're entry-level things, and that's where they can easily get you. But that's where you can also easily cut them off. That's why we're going to go over jurisdiction and traffic stops probably 1,000,000 times. And I'll say this too. You probably need to hear it 1,000,000 times so that when it happens to you, you're ready, you're prepared, you're mentally prepared, you know what you're going to do, you don't get that triggered, and you can follow through with it. And just like use some of the tricks that they use in doing meditations and affirmations and stuff, like going over the scenario in your head. Go over the traffic stop. Go over the law enforcement encounter. Go over the court date. What it might look like in court. Go over that stuff in your head and practice it in your head, and that'll help a lot. So I'm so sorry for the ones that, if you feel like you come every week and we're going to talk about the same stuff every week, well, probably a lot we are. And I'm sorry, but I just think people learn better by repetition, by really studying a subject. And, you have to remember what I'm going up against. Right now, in trying to teach people law, I'm going up against, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of brainwashing? And I have to break through that. It's not going to be easy. You people, including me, we all have heard hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of messages throughout our lives telling us all kinds of lies about the law. And old man's nodding, yes. Yeah, so isn't it gonna take repeating over and over and over to get that stuff ingrained out and put back in the real law? That no, they need jurisdiction, they need probable cause, they need to follow the law, we need to know what that law is. So that's why I'll be repeating a lot of stuff over and over and over. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure does.
Okay. So, I know you don't want to hear it, but, those are two places where we're really vulnerable, is on the road and in court or dealing with law enforcement. And so, that's why those two easy things, if we could just get them down. There are so many times where if I had just done that, if I had just stuck with jurisdiction, and I had studied jurisdiction for over a decade, and in that whole time, all we said is the only thing that ever works is jurisdiction, we gotta stick with jurisdiction, and yet, walk into a courtroom, lose my head because I get triggered, and don't do it. And that's why we need to go over it and over it and over it until you believe about jurisdiction and traffic stops. Until you believe the truth that I'm sharing with you about them as much as you have believed their lies about them. When we get to that point where you know and believe the real law as strong as you believed the lies, then we'll be getting somewhere. And then plus we're going to have new people joining all the time that haven't heard it before. So, once again, I'm going to go over it real quick. Jurisdiction is everything. And jurisdiction can be summed up in a word. And that is a claim. Somebody, some person, an actual person, not the state of Texas, not the United States, but an actual person has to be a victim where you have done one of three things. It's really only two. Two of them fall under one category, and then we got a third item. So we got three items, but we got two things. The first thing is, did you damage them or their property? This is what it takes to get jurisdiction. This is what a claim is. A claim is an actual live body, one or more actual persons that will get on the stand and that will testify that you either damaged them or their property. Okay? So that's number one. Damage. Okay? The person or the property. Same thing. Okay? That's damage. That's the first thing in jurisdiction under a claim. There has to be a person with damages. They have to prove that you either hurt them or their property, or that you broke a contract. So, if you damage somebody, their person, their property, or you break a contract, then they have jurisdiction. If they don't have a person who can get up and say, G8 hurt me, or G8 broke a contract and that caused me this damage, or G8 damaged my property. If they don't have a person that can get up on a stand and say that, they do not have a case. And that's true whether it's civil or criminal. So, jurisdiction equals a claim. Okay? Jurisdiction is a claim equals a case. So, jurisdiction in a word is a claim. If they don't have a claim, there can be no jurisdiction. That doesn't mean the court's not going to proceed, and it doesn't mean they're not going to try to snow you and say, oh yeah, we've got jurisdiction. Don't worry about that motto. We've got jurisdiction. And you're going to say, okay, Your Honor, I believe you. But we'll just need to prove that on and for the record. Oh. Well, and the judge may say, well, you know, this is a tax court. We hear tax cases all day, every day. I believe you, Your Honor, but that's a matter of venue. I'm talking about jurisdiction. So we need jurisdiction proven on and for the record before we can proceed. And they're going to do everything in the world to distract you and to get you to let them carry on. And it's going to be your job to stop them and go, wait a minute, Your Honor. I understand that, but we still haven't cleared up this matter of jurisdiction. And I'll need to know who is bringing a claim against me here today. Well, the state of Texas. Okay, good. Are you the state of Texas, Your Honor? He's going to say no. Oh, okay. Is the prosecutor the state of Texas? They're going to probably say something stupid like, yes, the prosecutor represents the state of Texas. So then you're going to say, okay, so then Mr. Prosecutor is going to get up on the stand and he's going to testify that he has a claim against me? No. Okay, then, Your Honor, we need to prove on and for the record that this court has jurisdiction before we can proceed. And you need to practice this over and over and over, because if you're targeted, you're going to get triggered when you walk into a courtroom and you're going to forget everything I said. So what you're going to need to do is write this stuff down. Have it in your notebook right in front of you. And in big letters write, do not let the court proceed until they've proven jurisdiction on and for the record. That means they bring a person and they say, well, we've got old man here. An old man said that you bashed into his truck and caused $500 worth of damage on such and such day. Okay, good. An old man's going to take the stand and he's going to testify to that? Yeah, okay, well, okay. Let's go. Let's see that. But a lot of times in these cases, like, that's why I showed the video of my traffic stop, because they want to lie to you. They will tell you, no ma'am, I had probable cause for a stop. And you heard me on the tape. If you haven't seen that tape, you can go to our LayLaw channel on YouTube, or you can look us up on BitChute or Rumble. and see that video. It's a corrupt cop stop. And you can look at that video and you can see how he kept lying to me and saying he had probable cause to stop me. But I know better. And I said, no, you don't. You better come up with probable cause, because you have no right to stop me here, and you have no right to hold me, and you better come up with a probable cause. And he didn't. But he wanted to tell me and lie to me, oh no, you blew through the stop sign, so that's probable cause to stop you. No, it's not. Probable cause means probable cause to believe that I've committed a crime. And they snow you on these traffic codes, and they tell you everything's a crime when it's not. And so it's going to depend on, your traffic codes in your state, and whether you know the Supreme Court laws, the Supreme Court rulings in relation to your stop. And those kind of things, but just understand they are gonna lie to you at every step of the way. That's what they do. Anybody have any questions or comments? Does that make sense of why I want to go over jurisdiction and traffic stops and this stuff that we've been through a million times? Does it make sense why I would want to keep going over that? Moto?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So I know it's kind of boring, to tune in and listen to that same stuff over again, but we really got to get it drilled in, and I'm working against decades of brainwashing that people have been through, where, they've been convinced that they know the law, and so then you gotta unbrainwash them and get the truth in there. And it's not always fast and easy. It's hard for us to wrap our mind around something that is so opposite of everything we've been told and everything that's happened to us. When the law keeps telling you this or that, dragging you in for tickets or this or that, whatever they're doing. So, well, we're at about an hour now, and it doesn't look like we're going to get any more joiners tonight. Although sometimes they do like to come in an hour and a half late. But, if nobody else has anything they want to share, discuss, or ask, I guess we could end off for the night. It's up to you guys. Anybody got anything?
No.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Okay.
If you want to continue on with that procedure for the legal items, I would appreciate that 2 and 3. Kind of new here. Looking for remedies, and anything helps. And
okay, and you said if I wanted to continue on with what?
With number 2 and 3, you said there was 3 items that they had to
under jurisdiction.
Their jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And you listed off number 1. I didn't get number 2 or 3. So if you would just be so kind to continue, I would appreciate it. I know, if there's not many people, or people are bored with it, or there's nothing else.
It's okay. If they're bored, they'll hang up. So I'm here.
If there's other things, I would be happy to hear other things on other topics too. But
yeah,
interested in it. So
okay. So the whole thing, as far as jurisdiction, can be summed up into the one word of a claim, which your claim is the same thing as your standing. Okay, so you might write jurisdiction equals standing equals claim. Okay? The standing is somebody's proof, that their standing is basically their claim. Those three things basically kind of mean the same thing. Jurisdiction is the standing, is the claim. They're kind of all the same thing, right? So, in order to have a claim, you have to have two things. You have to, or one of two things. You have to have either one. It either has to be damages or it has to be a broken contract which resulted in damages. So some kind of injury to person or property is number one. And then the second one is if I broke a contract. Those are the only two ways that there can be a case in front of a court. There has to be a victim. That victim has to be a live, breathing person. It can't be the state or the United States. It has to be an actual person that says 2631 did X either to me or to my property. And
didn't they pass a law that said that they would accept corporations as persons? And being that now all the states, including the corporate United States, are all now considered persons as being corporate entities. So the corporate entities are persons in law, in legalese law, not lawful law.
Right, exactly. So they're, and when I said a person has to testify against you, that has to be a living flesh and blood human.
Do you have, is there any, resource I can go to? Like, the judge says, oh, well, the entity is, the state of Minnesota, where I'm at. That's prosecuting you, and you're going down.
Okay, Your Honor, who is the state of Minnesota? Would that be you? Are you going to testify on the stand that I damaged you? He's going to say no. Okay, Mr. Prosecutor, are you the state of Minnesota? And he's going to say, yes, I represent the state of Minnesota. And you're going to say, okay, so then you're going to get on the stand and testify that I've damaged you or your property? Or that you have a valid claim against me? No. Okay, Your Honor, then we have a problem. Who is our witness? You have to, and you can find this. You asked me where you can find this. You can find this. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, in my experience, and I've been to jail for this stuff, they've trumped up charges on tax evasion even, just for a simple traffic stop on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I ended up in jail for 3 days, and they had to let me go because they didn't have anything.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, interesting case. But anyway, they seem to always corner you with their statutes, and you can't get around their statutes because once you enter and you're into their system, you're in their system, now you're kind of locked in. I mean, there's really...
You're just going to have to battle jurisdiction and not let them pass until they produce proof of jurisdiction on and for the record. Now,
right, but they never do, and they steamroll you over, and that's what happened to me almost every time. So I'm just I'm seeking a way to truth. I see all the BS, and I been in this stuff since the 2000s.
Right.
And I found you a couple of years ago. Gratefully, I appreciate your efforts and all you do.
Thank you.
But it's just it just seems like it's so corrupt at every level, stepping up, that there's really no avenue for us, we the real persons, people, we the people, I should say, actually, versus persons, to claim a remedy in the legal part of the system. We have to be lawfully under
common
the
law.
Constitution. These guys all operate in another system, something that's, they do not declare. And I've asked this in open court. I said, what's your jurisdiction? And they say statutory. And I was like, great, statutory, that's awesome. What is statutory jurisdiction? I've never heard of it.
Uh-huh.
And, so they wrangle it out, and they get me under this in their thing, and I appeal it because it wasn't explained to me. I didn't have the thing. Well, it should be understood under this and that and the other thing, and before I know it, I'm paying out, or I'm, under their articles, and it's like, it's all, if you step into it at all, it's like you step on a landmine.
Yep.
And if you step off of that thing, you're done.
Yeah.
You have to stand there, and there is no movement. You're like in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to be in it.
Right.
But it's like, and that's why I'm looking for a way out in this. And I understand what you're saying with the jurisdiction thing and all that, and I see it, but in their legal terms and in their system that they use, it just seems like you're it's like sticky glue,
Yep. Yeah, it is, and they do all kinds of illegal stuff. And it sounds like
it's unlawful stuff. It's legal for them to do it but for it's all unlawful.
Right.
Right.
And you've seen that a lot in the courts, as I have, because I've been through some of the same things. And this is why I want to make LayLaw an institution in the United States. I want to make it ubiquitous like the Red Cross or Girl Scouts, so that everybody knows about it. Everybody uses LayLaw. It's, going to be hopefully a free resource to everyone in the end. I make my own living elsewhere, so I don't take any money from LayLaw. I just have to pay the counselors that are coming on with us.
You should make it more like beer, wine, or cannabis. That would be.
That would get me some. That would get me some people, wouldn't it? I know, but
just you can tell them they can have a glass of wine while they're watching.
Right. Well, I do. I think we have to make it ubiquitous so that people understand the law. Because if you had a jury, if you could do a jury trial and they understood the law, they wouldn't let that court get away with that shit. But I've been with juries that just let the court totally screw me. And I'm like, how can y'all sit there and watch that? Well, and then try to convict me even for something I can't even be convicted of. How does this happen? Happens because they don't know the damn law.
Well, yeah, that's the reason. Is because the jury really doesn't know. And this is the last case that I was in, and I'll just give a brief on it. So I was pulled over for no tabs, brought in, went through a court deal. I got it up to the jury level. They wanted to hold me in jail. to sign some papers. I refused to sign. And this is because I didn't have a license plate on my traveling personal traveling article. I was just traveling. Not a vehicle, not anything, and I pulled my license off, and the cop pulls me over. He's like, "Yeah, you have a plate." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't need a plate. I'm just traveling. I'm just going home." Okay, and so he ended up bringing like 6 police officers. I ended up going in. I spent 3 days in jail. Coming out of that, through the process, and this was like over a year's worth of process, and they ended up on the charges before it went to trial, ended up being tax evasion and, gosh, it was a while ago. I can't remember what the other one was. Just back in 2012, and I can send you the link to get to this court case. But it went to court, and they had like a little pre-court thing, and I gave the court all my paperwork on why this is unlawful and all the past jurisdiction, the past items and articles for me to travel lawfully without having to pay.
Right.
To travel. Like, this is my right to travel.
Right.
And all these, everything in there, and it was like I made it, I simplified it to like 10 pages, and he rejected it, and he said, "If you bring this up during the trial, I'm going to have you, arrested and, put in jail again."
Oh, really?
So, come to trial, and everything, and we're going through the process of picking the trial members, and I'm like, "Is anybody here a U.S. citizen?" Because I'm not a U.S. citizen. And everybody raised their hand, and I said, "I don't have any peers among these, so I want to avoid it." And the judge wanted to continue on because he deemed me a U.S. citizen, even though I did not. So what do you make of that? They can do whatever they want down there.
Yeah, and I'm at that point myself, that, same thing has happened to me, where the court has just bowled over everything lawful, and they actually stole my house after I did a legal redemption on it for a tax sale. And
they did the same thing to me too, by the way.
Yeah.
I feel for you. Yeah, it's a sad situation that we're in right now. It really is for everybody. It's just like it seems like demonic conspiracy.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
This is a spiritual war we're fighting here. And
yeah. You always want to stand up and do the right thing, and
yeah.
that's my perspective. And it's like, okay, I'm always on the up and up, and I'm pointing it out, but it's just they roll over you.
Yeah.
And so here's my thing. What is the bottom line? How do you say, you know what, you can't do that? And then they have to abide by the, you know what, you're right, we can't do that. Where is that line?
Yeah. What I'm having to do over here, you just got to keep appealing and try to bring criminal charges. That's all we can do.
Even our appeal court here is that corrupt.
Yeah, so is ours. Fifth Circuit's awful.
Well, where do you go from there? From there, now I'm just at a point where, okay, I'm going to do whatever they say. I'm going to abide by the speed limit. I'm going to, put my seatbelt on and make it look good. But I carry a gun with me. I'm armed up at home because if they want to walk up my driveway, I know what's going to happen to me. And I'm done right there. I'm like, it's a battle royale, and I'm just, I'm not going to jail yet. That's my number one thing. A cop pulls me over and they want to get me out of the car. I'm done. I've been through, multiple years of legalities to no avail.
Yeah.
Where this experiment is just like, okay, the evil's gone way too far, and I for one, as a person, am not going to allow it any further. And for personally, just myself, and my farm, and that's you got to make a stand somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can't make it out there, but you just got to kind of lay low and be undercover and just do whatever. And it's just like I'm just looking for, okay, what is the lawful remedy? Because they don't even go by their own rules.
No.
In there, they'll just roll you over. So that's why I found you. I appreciate you. You have a lot of good insights, and I'm just, I guess we're both just as perplexed with.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I, am doing on Remedy right now that's different and that's having some effect, but I've been drinking lots of iced tea, and I gotta take a break real quick. So, if you and old man want to talk a minute, I'll be right back in 1 second.
Yeah, right on. Go relieve yourself. We'll have a little quick convo. No problem.
Okay, hold on, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. But, so some of the things that I'm doing on remedies now, we're going to have to, the courts have gotten so out of control and so criminal that we're going to have to do new things. Because the law isn't working in the courts. They ignore it, disregard it, run over it, do whatever, and they act completely criminally. So, there's a couple things that I'm doing on remedy. And one of those is to file criminal complaints. And I send that stuff to everyone. I send it to my state reps and senators, my U.S. reps and senators, my sheriff, constable, the FBI local office, state troopers, if you have that, if you have state police, or if you have a state bureau of investigations. Also, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, because those bonds they put on you are securities, and so they're illegally trading securities. And
what about the IRS?
The IRS and the Federal Trade Commission.
Let me ask you, if you don't mind if I interrupt for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Rob Ryder?
Yeah.
Out of Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, I, even tried, that's like how I first got into this stuff. With this guy, and this guy's awesome, and I'm glad you know him, so you know him, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, I didn't have such a good impression of him. I sent him $1,000. He didn't do shit for me.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't sent him anything, to be honest with you, but he seems to know his stuff, but it's like, I don't know, Minnesota is so corrupt. It's like, California or Chicago.
Listen, California, Chicago, New York, Florida, Texas, Michigan, Minnesota, Delaware. Those are really bad. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, what do? Do you just have to move to a new thing, or can you, like, ice break something and just like get into something. I'm just looking for the platform to get in, and it's like it's like all the agencies you mentioned where you sent your information to. It's like here they're all corrupt.
They are.
Everything is corrupt.
They are here too. Yeah, they are here too.
Remedy?
What we're hoping for is to find, a good agent or a good officer. And I mean, they can be found. We just got to keep pounding it and follow up with phone calls. Like after I send my criminal complaints, I'm following up with phone calls, and I'm just not stopping until I get my justice. Now, another thing is, and I can get you the Supreme Court rulings if you don't have them, but another thing is you can challenge jurisdiction at any time, even post-conviction.
Yes, I understand that, and I've actually tried to do that before, and they inevitably every single time, and well, I've only done it a couple times, but they say that because they switch judges, and they say what the last judge said goes, and that that was rejected.
Yeah,
and you can't roll over. So I mean, to me, it's like we're walking into a legal system with lawful intent, with our lawful intent, but we're going into legalese. We're going into like Spain or Germany or basically another country. It's in a whole other. To me, in my mind, is the way I look at it. It's like foreign to me. It's Greek.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's a corrupt Nazi system is what it is. It is completely foreign to us. This is not our judicial system. This is not the way it's supposed to work. So
when we enter there, is there some type of foreign sovereign immunity act that we can use to dissimulate these guys, because we are foreigners to them?
Right. Well, and there's only a couple things that I know of that I hadn't fully checked out yet or done yet. And that is we continue on to the Supreme Court.
I'm on the phone.
And that's probably where we're going to have to end up, is in the Supreme Court. And
well, even that's corrupt. I mean, Justice Roberts, and if you can call him that, and all these have already been convicted pedophiles.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy crap. It's like we don't have a country anymore, basically.
Yeah. Well, so if you know that...
We have Biden in there, for Christ's sakes. Stolen election.
Right. Well, if you know that stuff, then you're probably thinking along my lines, too, that hopefully Trump did sign the Insurrection Act. It is the military in control right now. They are investigating, and this stuff's going to break open. We can hope for that. That's
already coming out. I have military intel contacts that are, relaying information on certain things going on, and it definitely is happening, and it's definitely not Biden in control.
Oh, hell no. I mean, he ain't even in the White House. He doesn't fly Air Force One. He's been sitting in Castle Rock.
Yeah, he's sitting in the movie studio.
Crazy, man. Where are we living?
Bizarre freaking world.
It is.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like we got to go back to common law, and we have to get there. And that's what I was saying. I was like, I carry, and it's like if they want to pull me out of the car on my stop, I know exactly what they're going to do because I've been there. I know where I'm going, and I'm not going there. So it's just, at that point I'm on the run, and I have a couple of spots, and I've set myself up pretty well for adverse actions. But it's just like a guy shouldn't have to live in that situation.
Absolutely not.
In a place where the institution that you put there, the government, we put it there. We're employing them and telling them you got to do this for us, and they're saying no, we're gonna take you down. I'm like, tables have turned.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw. Did you see my traffic stop, my corrupt cop stop?
I don't think I have. If you want to send it to me, or if you want to text it to me, that'd be great. I would take it.
Okay, because I'll tell you, that stop happened in the same town where the cops used to gang stalk me, where they had me under 26 charges. I couldn't even leave my house. I was running a multi-million-dollar company and bedridden mostly at the time. And still somehow...
A lot of stress, man.
Yeah. And still, somehow, these guys managed to get 26 charges on me. And it's because every damn time I left my house, they were sitting right here waiting for me, right at the end of my block. And I couldn't go...
just breathing air is going to get you into a couple of problems.
Yeah, it got to where nobody would ride with me because... they were pulling guns on me, pulling everybody out of the car, running checks on everybody. They beat me up. They stole my money. They did all kind of stuff. And I was like you. I was like, what is going on here? And I couldn't get it to stop. And so there's a couple things that happened. One is I sued. But they still didn't really stop. They pretended to call a truce. And
you know what I think? I think it's the amount of force, because they have the force and they know nobody else is behind you. Your neighbor's not going to come out for you.
Right.
The guy out in Michigan or Minnesota isn't going to go out there to wherever you are to help you. And it's, so they got the force of their agenda against us.
Right.
Wherever we're at. It doesn't matter if I'm here or whatever. I'd like to see the incident and see what happened and everything. It would just be interesting to me to see it. I see that stuff and it just it just gets me all wound up.
Well, the reason I'm talking about this video is because that's the way it used to be for me. Constantly getting beat up, my money stolen, guns pulled on me, taken to jail. I think they took me to jail like 5 times or something. They had 26 charges. It was constant.
Amen.
And then what I did is I sued. All I did was a miscellaneous suit that was a motion to perpetuate testimony to make them give me the tapes. And I said in my motion that I was trying to gather evidence to see if there was a crime committed or if there was evidence of a crime. And the court, I didn't even set it for hearing or anything. And just the threat of that lawsuit made them back off. They wanted to call a truce, and I said, okay, I'll call a truce. And so we kind of called a truce. Well, they didn't really stick to their truce. You know how they are, because they're liars and criminals. And so they didn't really stick to their truce. But as long as they weren't, like, pulling me over and messing with me, I was like, okay. Well, then, see, I had moved 6 miles away out of the county so that they couldn't get me. And they still continued to drive their little gyrocopter over my property in the other county. And so then I filed some more paperwork with the government, you know, basically an affidavit of life. I don't know if you've done that yet. And then I also just kept studying the law. And now in the traffic stop that I want you to see, it was a completely different scene, dude. Completely different. And I tell you on the video why it's different. It's because I take control in the beginning instead of letting him take it. And I put him on the defensive from the jump. And then there's several. Huh?
I said I like it.
Yeah. And so I want to show other people, you know, you sound like the kind of guy to me that you're like me. I'm going to stand up for my rights, even if it means jail. I'm not going to just roll over. I'm going to stand up. And so you're a big boy. You understand that no matter what you do, you might go to jail. They might beat you up. They might whatever, right? So,
well, you know what? I mean, to be quite honest with you, because of where I have been with the similar situations that you've been in and what I've been through, I'm at the point where I am done. And if they do try to take me, I'm just going to take them out and move on. You know, I'm on the run. Basically,
before
what I'm saying is just that's I'm at that limit right now where I see that there is no remedy, and I'm searching for it under every freaking leaf and stone and rock and digging miles into the earth, and the remedy does not exist for me.
Okay, so
unless it comes out of a brush.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you actually under some criminal charges right now?
At the moment, I'm not. At the moment, I am just playing, you know, the gray man.
Yeah.
I'm not even like I drive, you know, 3 miles over the speed limit. I just maintain the pace. I don't do anything out of the normal. And I'm outside of kind of where I used to get into trouble. I'm out of that region of the state where I'm known. So I just haven't really introduced any incidents. I don't like doing it. I don't like playing the facade, but you know, it's like I know I'm at my limit where if I am speeding and they pull me over and they want to, you know, get me out of the car instead of giving me a ticket, you know, because of my stance and what I'm going to say to them, they probably will. They're not walking away, and I'm going to be on the run. That's just, you know, that's where I'm at right now. I can't find a remedy.
I get it. Well, watch that traffic stop of mine.
Yeah. Send me the.
Are you on Zoom on the computer watching me right now, or are you on a phone?
No, I'm on my phone, and I have a Telegram. If you want to send it to Telegram or...
Okay, well, I can text you a link on your phone.
Okay.
But if you were looking at the computer right now, I could just play it. But for me, so they ran me out of town, ran me over to the next county over. I've lived there for several years. Now they've stolen my house unlawfully through the courts.
Yep.
And so I'm back in the place where they were gang stalking me. Well,
oh my gosh.
I started noticing that
you're pretty brave to go back into the war zone.
I had no choice. I had nowhere to live.
Yeah,
this is my only.
I hear you.
This is my only other
and
house.
You should have the freedom to go wherever you want. I mean, this is supposedly America, right?
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be, but it isn't anymore. But
yeah, it's America with a K now.
Yeah. Well, what I did was, after being chased out of the county, when I came back, of course, I was kind of terrified because this is where it all started, and this is where they beat me up. They stole my money. They put me under all those charges. They kept threatening me and escalating and all that stuff. So I was really scared. But then I noticed that, like, there were a couple times where I was speeding and they didn't pull me over. And I was like, what's that about? And so I just kept ramping it up because I wanted to see what was the deal. Why are these guys not pulling me over? And so one day I went on this street behind me, and I was actually looking for some medicine for my PTSD because they got cow pastures over there. I was over there and I was creeping. I was creeping on this street because I'm looking at the cow pasture, right? And, of course, down here you can't find nothing. They feed all the cows these antibiotics and all that stuff. There is no more medicine in the cow pastures. So, but anyway...
Yeah, we don't do that here. It's all natural here.
Well, I was creeping along, and I was looking, and I was, like, in the middle of the road, and I'm driving, like, 5 miles an hour. And I see way up ahead that somebody has turned on the street coming toward me. And I kind of crept along for a minute, but when they didn't turn off right away and they were still coming, I decided, well, I should go ahead and speed up and get in my lane and act right. And I did, but when they got approached closer, I could see it was a small SUV in 2 colors, black and white, and I went, oh my God, it's cops. And so when they passed, I was looking at the door to see which cops it was. Who is this? And I saw that it was my local town here that had harassed me, and I was like, oh crap. And so I went ahead and hit the gas. They flipped around after, to come after me, and I just gunned it, went up to the stop sign, did a rolling California stop through it, gunned it, went down to the next street, turned right to head back to my house. Well, so did the cop and followed me. And then I made the next right and they followed me, and then I went down and around the curve and they followed me, and then I get to my street and I turned on my street and she or he went straight. And by going straight, they only have a little ways to go to end up back where they came from, where they turned around on me at. Like, they're almost back to there again. So why the hell did you... They had to be following me. You know? So,
I hear you.
When they continued on, I was like, okay, what the hell was that? This is Tomball. They know who I am. What happened? So then I said, okay, I'm really going to test this. I'm tired of playing. I want to see what's going on. What's up? challenge this, right? So,
Okay.
and I've never done this before. I've always, like you, I was doing the speed limit, I was complying, and they were kicking my ass. So I go out, I'm driving down the road one day, right in the middle of main downtown, speed limit's 30. I'm doing like 45, 50. The cop is in the far outside lane coming toward me. He sees me. He pulls to the very inside lane that's cross-marked with yellow. He beeps his little beep beep, flashes his lights. I look over at him. I turn my head to look at him. Now we're both in the inside, so we're right, yeah, face to face. I turn, I look at him. He points at me. He says, "You." I read his lips. "You." I turned back toward the road, never hit my brake, kept right on going. He never came after me. Like, okay, this has to, I gotta know.
What the heck did you do? How did you get to that point? That's where I want to.
Oh, right, I'll take you there, baby. I'll take you there. So,
all right, you know.
So next, my next step was, okay, so there's definitely something going on here. Let me see what's up. So one day I was coming home and I see the cop in the median trying to catch speeders. Well, I couldn't speed because of the traffic. So I said, well, I'm going to go down here and turn around and I'm going to wait for my chance. You should have
just went like on the shoulder and just kind of cooked it.
Well, what I did is I went down, I turned around, I came blowing back by him. He didn't do nothing. I went down, turned around at the convenience store, and then I stopped, I said a prayer, and I said, okay, here goes. And I just freaking floored it out of the convenience store I was in. Blasted onto the road and blew by this guy. And, of course, he hit the lights and turned around on me. And I'm like, okay, now you've done it. Now you're going to jail. And so I slowed down because I thought, okay, let me see if he reads my plates, is he going to leave me alone? So I slowed down real slow, gave him time to call me in. He still kept coming. So I said, okay, I'm going to pull over. I was doing real slow. I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop. So I stopped, and here's what I did that made the difference on the traffic stop. Number one, I went on the offensive immediately. I did not even give him time to take control of the scene. I took control. This is my scene now. Because now you interrupted my freedom. Now it's my scene. So,
right.
As he was approaching, and you'll see this on the video. Now this stop I'm telling you about I didn't get a video of it. But, I did the same thing that I did in the video. And the first thing, but of course, this stop, I was loud, I was nasty, I was cussing, every other word was an F-bomb. I was not pretty. And he comes up, and as he approaches, I said, what's your emergency? He said, ma'am, I pulled you over for doing 54 and a 30. I said, I don't give a shit. What's your emergency? You have your overhead emergency lights engaged. What is the emergency? He said, ma'am, I told you I was pulling you over for doing 54 and a 30. I said, that is not an emergency. Now you're creating a traffic hazard by stopping me in the middle of the road. What is your probable cause? Ma'am, I told you I pulled you over for doing 54 and a 30. I told you I don't give a shit. That's not probable cause. What's your probable cause? Well, ma'am, that is probable cause. No, it isn't. You better call for backup. You better call for a supervisor. Well, I gave him my passport. I don't have a driver's license. My car isn't tagged.
That's what I do. That's exactly what I do too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't
Okay,
have
go ahead.
none of that. Don't have tags or nothing to show him. Don't have a license, not registered, inspected, nothing.
Yeah.
So I give him my passport and I tell him, that's all I'm going to give him. And he calls in, and while I'm waiting for him, I'm sitting there thinking, Nannette, you crazy nut. What are you thinking, man? You just trying to go to jail today. And so when he called me in, and then the next thing I know, I see 2 other cars pull up, and I tell him, you called for backup for a girl? Well, aren't you the fucking... Yeah. I said, well, aren't you the fucking bravest and finest? And so then he goes back and meets with them, and I yell out the window, y'all better call for a supervisor. And one of them said, supervisor's on the scene, ma'am. And I said, good. So the supervisor came up, and he said, what's going on, ma'am? And I said, what's going on is your boy here has engaged his overhead emergency lights when there was no emergency, number 1. Now he's creating a traffic hazard by pulling me over in the middle of the road, and he doesn't even have probable cause. So somebody better come up with probable cause or let me go, because you have no right to detain me without a probable cause of a crime. So he goes, okay. So he walks back, talks to the guy, and then they all 3 came up. And the original officer said, ma'am, I'm going to need your address and phone number. And I said, F no. I mean, I screamed. And he said, ma'am, I just need a good address and phone number on you. And I said, F no, let's go to the magistrate. And they said, oh, shit. So they walk away, and then they send the 3rd guy up. This one I haven't dealt with yet. And they decide they're going to play good cop, bad cop, even though they've been good this whole stop. They've been polite, nice, professional. I've been the psycho. And
no guns pulled, no,
no,
we're going to break your window.
Nope. Nope. So
you live in a halfway decent state to, pull some of this stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
No, because they were jacking my ass before when I wasn't asking the right questions and didn't have the right tone. They were jacking me, dude.
You were giving them the flack that you're giving them now.
Right. So I told him, no, I'm not giving you none of that. So now the 3rd cop comes. He's going to be real nice. He goes, ma'am, can't you just give him your phone number? I said, F no. And he said, oh my God. And I said, he needs to either take me to jail or cut me loose. And he said, ma'am, we're trying not to take you to jail. And the only way we would is if you don't sign the ticket. Now, will you sign the ticket? I said, F no.
No, he says no ticket.
Yeah, hell no. Let's go to the magistrate. So he goes, oh my God. So he walks back. Now they're all 3 talking. Now I start yelling out the window. Come on, let's go to the magistrate. I don't even have time to fuck with you guys. Come on. And they're all standing there talking, and I'm like, let's go. I ain't gonna fuck around with you guys all night. Let's go. So finally, the original cop walks up by himself. He's got my passport in his hand. And he goes, ma'am, I'm going to need you to slow down in Tomball. The speed limit's 30 miles per hour throughout the entire city. And I said,
sign up there with the white and the black letters is for commerce.
Right.
And I'm not acting in commerce.
Right.
So fuck the F off.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
That's basically.
Thank you, and have a nice night.
That's basically what I said. I said, I don't give a shit what the speed limit is. And he goes, he leans in, he gets real stern, he raises his eyebrow, and he says, ma'am, I'm going to strongly suggest that you slow down in Tomball. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going to strongly suggest that you give me back my goddamn passport before you end up with a fucking lawsuit. Dude, he handed me back my passport. I look over at the guy who's standing under his driveway, his awning, been watching all this. I look at him and smile. He raises his shoulders like, what the hell? And he's turning toward the cops like, what the hell? And I just punched it, dude. I was doing 45 before I hit the next side street.
Oh, sweet.
So, a week later, they stopped me again. We basically go through the same thing. And I'm telling them, let's go to the magistrate. Now, I'm right across the street from the courthouse in my truck. Right across the street. I'm 30 yards from the turn into the driveway. And they're telling me, no, well, we're going to impound your truck. And then I said, no, you're not. So we went through the same thing. And this time they issued the ticket, but I refused to sign it. And I told them, let's go to the magistrate. Well, this time they took the ticket and they put it in my passport and handed me back my passport. So I said, well, I don't give a shit what you got on this piece of paper. I haven't signed anything. I'm not obligated to anything, and I'm not showing up. So whatever. So I took it and I left. Well, court date came and went. And then I got this letter. And this letter said, when you signed the ticket, you agreed to show up in court. Well, I already know that. So that's why I didn't sign the ticket. And this letter doesn't have anything to do with me. So file that away in file 13. So then just a few days ago, a week or two ago, I got stopped again. And that's the one I finally had the presence of mind to film it. And you can see...
What city are you in?
I'm in Tomball in Texas.
Oh, okay. Down in Texas, okay.
Yeah, I'm near Houston. So...
Okay.
So the guy in the third stop, he issued me a ticket and he wrote refused on it. And I was like, I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want. And I wouldn't take the ticket, so he threw it in my truck. And you'll see in the video, I'm yelling at the cop, get your trash you threw in my truck. And you'll hear him yell back, that's yours, ma'am. And I screamed back at him, it's your trash. And then I drive away, I talk about it a little bit, and then I go home and I go over the ticket with people and show them what he actually did and how I didn't sign it and blah, blah. So, yeah, I'm not going to that court either. But what's interesting is this officer that stopped me, Officer Yoho, he's one of the first ones that started on my gang stalking a decade ago. On the gang stalking. Yeah, the gang stalking from this police department. He was the first one to pull me over and harass me. He also called a judge in a court when I had an eviction case against some people that were squatting in my house and hadn't paid the rent. And he called the judge and told him some bullshit. And the judge made me come back in 2 months and prove it was my house. And I said, Your Honor, I wouldn't be here evicting somebody from somebody else's house. It's very clear. I'm on the property records. I'm on the tax rolls. It's my house. Everybody else was there representing apartment complexes, multiple, property owners and everything. Nobody got asked for that but me. And then the judge actually...
Because they knew that you didn't own the house. The bank owns the house.
Yeah. So what they did was cost me another 2 months, and the judge actually mentioned that he had spoken to Officer Yoho. Well, Officer Yoho had nothing to do with this case, shouldn't have even known about this case, and yet Officer Yoho felt it that he needed to call this judge and tell him something about me. So that was the same officer that just stopped me the other day that I have on court, and he had stopped me before and was all bullying me and get off my seat and and all tough. And then you see him on the tape last week and he's all like subservient, bowing his head, blah, blah, blah. He did try to break in my vehicle that day. And that was another important lesson, that if you have a vehicle that when you put it into park, it unlocks the doors, you better lock them back. I just got lucky that day. I never did put my vehicle in park. It was in drive with my foot on the brake the whole time. So when he went to open my door, it was already locked, and I just started screaming, no, 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 and you can see me rolling up my windows. That's when he tried to break in my vehicle. And then I mentioned it back to him later when he told me roll down the window and talk to me, and I said, no, you already tried to break in my vehicle once. I'm not rolling the window down. And so I didn't do a very good job of videoing because I wasn't used to it. It was my first time. It's the first time I've had the presence of mind to do it. But I was glad I did because then everybody else can see how I handled that stop. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to be on the offensive first. Make them go on the defensive. Why do you have...
to corrupt...
Yeah.
To corrupt areas that... it's where I'm at. It's so like they will have a gun drawn on you, and they have all their buddies come and surround you with like now you have like 10 guns drawn on your car. What the fuck? I mean, it's like I'm going down, but I'm taking at least 2 of you with me.
That's how corrupt Tomball is. That's how corrupt Tomball is. Now, let me tell you what I think changed it. Why today I can do that where I wouldn't have dared to do that a decade ago, dude.
Right.
This department is so crooked, and they have a fucking 50-year history of being crooked. So...
how did you grab a hold of their balls and yank them so hard to make them
stop,
release you? That's what I want to know.
Okay, I'll tell you to the best of my ability. I believe it was a combination of things. I don't have a definitive answer for you, but I will tell you everything. I'll tell you everything I did, and then maybe we can figure it out. But to this day, I'm not 100% sure. But here's the things I did. Number 1 is I filed that lawsuit. They know.
So the lawsuit was what?
Well,
to sue.
It wasn't even a real lawsuit. All it was a motion to perpetuate testimony in order to determine if there were enough evidence to pursue further action. So it was called a miscellaneous action in the state district court. It was filed as they have on your cover sheet, miscellaneous. That's what it was, and it was just a motion to perpetuate testimony to get the tapes. Now, they know because of my different stuff in these courts. See, they got the tax assessor collector after me after they couldn't do anything. And so maybe...
that's what they did to me. That was their, that was their thing. I'm just trying to circle around what you're saying here and incorporate it. Is they got me for tax evasion
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have the tabs and the plates on my car. And all I'm trying to say is, I'm not a vehicle. I'm not a Minnesota entity. I am, here transporting myself and not in commerce.
Yep. Well,
so yeah, go ahead.
Like I said, I didn't have to file an actual lawsuit alleging damages and whatever. Just that one motion to perpetuate testimony was enough to make them want to call a treaty. But they did start their stuff again by pulling me over. Now, the other things that I did, I don't know if you've heard of a do not detain or an affidavit of life.
Yes.
Okay, so I did one of those. Have you done one?
I did an affidavit thing, but they don't even recognize it. It's like I filed an affidavit under my when I went in to file it, I had to file it under my home.
Okay.
My,
this is probably a different process then. This we're going to send to your governor. We're going to send to the DOJ, the Federal Trade Commission. We're going to send it to like 7 different places. And one of those places is the Federal Trade Commission. And they're the only ones you'll get a response from. Once you get that response from them, you should be put into all the police and law enforcement databases, and the courts. And
how do we get that? What do I do
to get that letter from the Federal Trade Commission?
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta do this affidavit of life packet that I'll hook you up with. And you do your.
I'll send you whatever, I don't know whatever you're asking for it. I'll send it to you because I'm interested in doing that process because I understand that the affidavits are a lawful to the system.
Right. Well, not only that, but when you send this affidavit of life, what you're doing is you're telling the government, all branches, that you are alive and not dead or lost at sea, and you're claiming everything.
The birth certificate claim.
Right.
That, okay, they're saying that you're a dead entity.
Right. And now you're saying, no, I'm not. I'm alive and I want all my crap back. And so what happens is...
Because here I am.
Yeah. When you file that, they're going to put you on a list where they let law enforcement and all them know. And you're supposed to be, I don't know if it's true, you're supposed to be on a do not detain list after that. But they will never ever tell you that.
You have like some packet that for what I need to do to the process for that, or?
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
And I'll tell you, I've got exact instructions, and I could even send you a little kit, because you have to thumbprint this thing in blood. And so you sign it.
Whatever they need.
Yeah.
Whatever they need, I'll be fine with it.
Yeah, you sign it, you put your blood thumbprint over the last couple letters of your name, and then you put a piece of tape over that, and then you need 2 witnesses and a red ink pad, and your witnesses will put their thumbprint with the red ink pad, but yours has to be in blood. And then you put tape over all your bloody fingerprints. And then you send these packets off to all these people, and then when you get your letter from the Federal Trade Commission, at that point you should be in all the databases. Now, I will tell you, in the middle of all that, all those stops that Tomball was making, one day I decided, that I paid gas tax for the road, so I wasn't going to pay the toll road, and I was going to run this toll road over here. So I'm on the toll road where you're supposed to have an easy tag, and it's easy tag only. And I don't have an easy tag, and I'm cruising doing 70, and the cop stops me, a state trooper. And in Texas, our state troopers are really bad. Like, they are gonna get you. Like, if you get pulled over by a state trooper, usually you can picture all your shit sitting out on the road, and you're gonna be there a while. And this guy came up, took my passport, went back to his car, and then he came back and he goes, you know what? You know what you need to do today? I said, what's that? He said, you need to play the lottery. I said, oh, is that right? And why is that? And he said, 'cause today's your lucky day. I just ran out of paper in my printer, and I have other rolls. I could put another roll in, but I don't feel like it. Bullshit. Bullshit. He let me go 'cause he didn't have paper in this printer? I ain't buying that.
I think this circles back to the very beginning of our conversation where do you realize he does not have jurisdiction?
Yep. Yep. So, see, that's the thing. They're still gonna lie. They're still gonna do whatever. But, yeah, I'll hook you up with that packet. So, that's the number one.
Could you hook me up with that package too? This is Angelica.
Yeah. So, number one.
So what information you need from me to send it to me?
I've got your number if this is your cell number. You're calling in on.
You can text me the info and send in there a way for me to send you some kind of compensation too, because and whatever you are expecting for a donation.
Yeah. Well, I don't charge anything, and I'll be happy to share that with you for free, but I haven't ever gotten or taken or asked for any donations to help me with any of my legal battles.
We gotta take care of each other.
Well, bless y'all's hearts. You're making me want to cry, because I haven't had any help, and I went through all these 3 moves. I'm in one of my rentals, so I've only got one rental that's supporting me. And I went through the Texas freeze. I lost 3 hot water heaters and a water treatment system, and had leaks and all kind of stuff. Then my printer blew. And I mean, it's just been one thing after another. And just to keep fighting these guys, I mean, I just spent $500 a couple weeks ago just to buy paper and ink, because of papers I had to send.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ungodly, the cost to fight these guys, but yeah, I don't charge anything. I'll be happy to send you papers and show you how to do this stuff, but that's the things I did. Number one, that motion to perpetuate testimony, which I never even followed through with. Okay, it's just they know I can and will. Number 2 was the affidavit of life kit. And the third thing was just being on the offensive right away rather than them taking control of the scene and me being subservient. I put them in the hot seat first.
Yeah, here that would get guns drawn on you, and ma'am, step out of the vehicle.
Yeah, I would have said the same thing here.
Step out of the vehicle now, or we're going to gas you. And then they break your window, and if you don't get them, they pull you out of the car.
Yeah, I get it. I would have said the same thing here. Because, I mean, everybody around here knows this cop shop is crooked and always has been. And,
You're right. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's freaking everywhere.
Yep. And I would have totally expected that. So you can see why, when they weren't pulling me over, I was like, what is going on here?
You did something that ruffled their feathers in up in the chain somewhere there.
Yeah, so I don't.
I'm interested.
I don't know
let me
if
ask
it.
you this.
Go ahead.
Where did you come up with the information that you have to do what you did to them? Where did you garner that?
What?
Who gave that to you, or where did you find it? Where were the elements?
Well, see, I don't know if it was that do not detain, the lawsuit, or just the fact that they've seen me around for years and they know I won't quit and I will come after them. I don't know.
Right. You're a little badger. You're a little badger in the hole to them, so they want to ride around you.
Yeah. They know I'll sue them. So, I really don't know which or what it was that made them stop. But I will tell you this. I also am a very spiritual person. And I know that this is a spiritual battle. Right.
Right on.
Yeah. And so also doing, focusing on what I want, not what I don't want, kind of the secret kind of thing.
Positive,
yeah. Doing meditation. Staying in that God flow, just, I think everything contributes to why I'm doing well, in spite of my circumstances, and why I've gotten the cops to stop and stuff like that, is I think everything. I think it's the prayer, the meditation, the strong belief, the focus, the do not detain, the lawsuit, the constant court battles, the not giving up. I think it's all of it that...
All-encompassing, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're doing the spiritual stuff and you're doing your meditation, you're focusing on what you want, not focused on being targeted, I
am focused on what I want. But just my military background, my military training, I'm always in the yellow. You know what I mean? I always have I have the plan B, C, and D in the back of my head. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just, it's always there.
Yeah.
And that's just my intuition training. But yeah, my forerunning thought is always, the primal remedy. How can we solve this situation? I don't want to go to this level.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to bring it to B, you want to bring it to C. Okay, plan D is not looking good for you. So I totally hear what you're saying. I understand, and I want to take this time to say I'm really grateful for you to take the time and do this. I appreciate you extending the Zoom call for me primarily, probably. I don't know if it's just me and maybe one other person on the line.
Yeah, there's just two of you now. And listen, I really appreciate you thanking me for that and appreciating me for that. It's
I do. It's like, who else out there is there?
Yeah.
There's this we that are just diving into the stuff and happen upon each other, and I believe the Lord directs people in the directions at certain times, and here we are.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that you're still out there doing it.
Well, thank you so much. It it is kind of draining, but
No, thank you.
I don't think
Thank
we can get
you.
out of
No.
this. I don't think we can get out of this without educating the broad public. And so,
You know, I don't think we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna get out of this without a war. To be honest with you, and
it may.
the education is great, and going through this, but being where I've been and seeing what they're capable of, and that they'll do anything
Yes.
to make their directive happen. I've been there, and
Yep.
these people are. The corruption you see is surface level.
Yeah.
It's just top of the iceberg compared to what they're capable of. It's
Oh.
just so sickening.
Oh, I
And,
know. I know. I mean, I've been all down the rabbit hole, honey. My parents, when I was 4 years old, my parents told me every bit of this was going to happen. They said, it will come at some point in your lifetime, and you're going to have to make a decision. And you either follow the Lord and do the right thing, but unfortunately, following the Lord and doing the right thing.
You are so blessed. You are so blessed to have, and I'm so grateful for your parents. You just have to extend the gratitude to
Yes.
the next level, because they gave you what you have, and you're able to express that to us. So
Absolutely.
I'm just exponentially grateful at this point. So.
Yeah, I'm real grateful to them too for teaching me that, and they said you will have to face it in your lifetime, and I have, and I've done my very best to not go into the system and to stick with sovereignty, because my parents told me that's what they're trying to do, is lead us into a slave nation. And so I did have that working for me, in that I got trained really young, told what was going to happen and what I would have to do. But I think, maybe let's try the affidavit of life with you and just see if that makes any difference. It takes about 2 months to get it kicked in and get your letter back from the Federal Trade Commission. Once you get that, you are in the computers. Now, like I said, a cop will never, ever tell you that you have a do not detain on you. But it will show up.
Yeah, they're not going to say anything. Yeah.
No.
But,
Now, I would be interested.
I want to let you know. I want to let you know what they see.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
So
I've been
that's
told.
kind of interesting.
I've been told by people that even if the cop is your friend.
I'm really blessed to, be on this call with you today. I'm just.
You had mentioned before about a tort claim.
Government tort claim.
Yeah. Can you send me the information on that as well?
Well, I mean, I don't know what you're asking me to send you. I mean, there's stuff about government tort claims. That's a big subject. But I'll tell you where you can go.
The subject is that they stole everything from me, and then they killed one of my cats and stole the other. And now I'm finding out that, they stole my computers with my MacBook Pro, Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, my music.
Yeah,
And then it's a copyright problem. And they made fraudulent copyrights of my song, and that's $350,000 per song for copyright infringement. So I have a pretty big case.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you where you can get all the information you need to know about tort claims. if you go to richardcornforth.com, he has a whole book just on government tort claims.
Okay.
I have not done a government tort claim yet. And I haven't even reviewed that book, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But we will have Richard on several times in the future, and he can go over those kind of things. I mean, he wrote the book.
Is there any way that can I get a hold of him through his website? Or?
I don't know. You can try. I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't. It's been a while since I've been at his website.
Right.
But you can go there and see how to order and get the government tort claim book that tells you all about it. It's the only one that I'm not real familiar with because I haven't done any of it yet. But from what I understand, a government tort claim is a little bit different than suing anybody else civilly. And that's...
Yeah, I can chime in here a little bit on this.
Okay.
And this is all I know about it. Okay, and this is a case from my brother. I have 5 brothers. Okay. So my brother was traveling and he ruined his vehicle in a pothole on a roadway. And he filed a tort claim against the city for damages on his vehicle. And he was awarded all the damages that he claimed because they were proven true. So that's the only tort claim type experience that I can offer up, here for this instance. And I understand that, okay, so this here is a different scenario where this other sister here has a claim that this entity came in and actually demolished her sustenance, took her music and other items of value. So she has total availability to go in and claim that, hey, this was my value and they took it from me. So there is a system within their system that allows us to claim damages under torts.
Yes.
For government intervention when they get involved and start to damage us. Like, they're supposed to maintain the roads. That's what we pay them for. Okay, your roads damaged my car now. We paid you to maintain them. So you're saying, okay, here I have protected property. You guys came in and stole my protected property. I'm claiming a damage. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
Cool. Perfect. So, Angelica, I think you're gonna have to do the affidavit. So you need to write down everything that happened and include in there only facts.
I have done that, and I have sent it everywhere that I could think, but I have not sent it to the Federal Trade Commission.
Okay, well, you're not going to do that with your claim. What you're going to do, you can do two.
If I could interject a second, with Angelica, the tort claim, you have a claim with the state or whatever agency, so you have to actually go after that agency that that caused the damage to you. You can't. I mean, it's not right.
I don't want to go there.
But that's where you have to go. I mean,
are gonna have to do it through the mail or go over their head.
No. You're right. Do everything through the mail. Yeah. Don't ever walk into their territory ever.
And it doesn't, you know, it has been going on now for 10 years.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's insane where we're at right now in this realm.
It really is. It's unbelievable. But
yeah.
I think if we just keep pounding at it, I keep saying, you know, one man going up, hitting a brick wall that's 10 foot thick with a hammer is going to do nothing. But if he stands there and pounds at it all day, every day, and then when he gets tired, somebody else comes and picks up the hammer behind him, eventually that wall is going to come down. And that's what we're doing.
I want to thank you, Nannette, for starting the hammering process.
Well, it wasn't me, honestly. There was people doing this decades before me, and I've been taught by some of the best. And I'm going to bring those people on when we can get our viewership.
I want to give you some background from people I've been introduced and, you know, where I came from. I don't know if you know a guy by the name of William Cooper.
Yeah, Bill Cooper. Yeah.
Yes, Bill Cooper. And that's where I started. I started with this cat and, you know, Rod Class and some other guys coming through with different things after Bill Cooper died and unfortunately was assassinated, I think.
Yeah. Suicided?
But, yeah, exactly.
Have you looked at David Straight's stuff?
I haven't, you know what, I have never heard that name.
Yeah.
David Strait?
Yeah, David Strait. The reason I bring him up is because he mentioned, you know, we talked earlier when everybody else was off the line, you and I talked about Trump a little bit and stuff. And in one of his talks in the last few years, David said that he met with Trump in the Rose Garden. He was meeting with Melania about the child pedophilia, and he was apparently working with Melania on that, and Trump came out. And David said in his lecture, it's on one of his ones online, I think it's the Arkansas class, it's David Strait, Arkansas class 1, 2, and 3. In one of those, probably the first day, he mentions this. And he says he was talking to Melania, President Trump came out, he saw him coming, and he was thinking to himself, you know, I've got 1 minute to get through to this guy. He's got, you know, people at every side always, you know, in his face wanting something, this and that. I've got a few seconds. What the hell am I going to say? And he decided that what he would tell Trump was there's supposed to be one representative in Congress for every 30 people. That means right now we should have 10,000 something people in Congress, and we only have 540. That's the problem. We haven't had a quorum ever. And Trump said, you're right. And David Strait said that, you know, why, I wanted to bring this to your attention, that they haven't had a quorum. And he said that President Trump said That's why I've restored the Republic. Now it's up to you. And he gave David Strait one of his ball caps with the presidential seal. And he said, this isn't the one everybody else gets, the regular White House hat. This is the special one that only comes from the president. And so I just thought it was really interesting that David talked to him in person and that Trump said, I restored your republic. Now it's up to you. So
that's so cool. That's so cool that.
Yeah, really cool. So yeah, I'm with you. I think we're under Insurrection Act, and all this stuff is gonna come clear pretty soon, and we will get justice.
I believe we're under a military covert operation.
Yep.
I just had I came to this park and I have like 6 military people. I would cheer by myself, and then like 6 military people showed up with their stickers on their cars, and you can just tell by the attitude too. And I mean, I'm not in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. What state are you in, Angelica?
It's okay. It's okay. Pardon?
Did you say you're in North Carolina?
No.
Oh,
no,
where?
No, that was even worse. I'm in Washington State.
Washington State. That's a good state. There's a lot of good patriots you can hook up with up there that'll protect you.
Oh, really? Well, send me their names, because I haven't read any of the names.
Hell, I don't know anybody.
Washington is the Northern California.
Yeah, but I tell you what, they have got some groups of patriots.
Well, they're not as bad as Oregon, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
And California is just stay out of California. I love California, but you can't go there.
Yeah, it's just a den of vipers. Yeah.
Angelica.
My son lives in Idaho, right next to Washington. Actually, we are right on up in Washington. So.
What's right on the border?
Right on the border of Washington in Idaho.
Oh, what about it?
Yeah, my son lives up in there.
Oh.
Is that around Coeur d'Alene?
It's probably a couple hours south of Coeur d'Alene, maybe an hour and a half or plus south of there.
Yeah, yep. I just went there. I was, like everything's so much cheaper in Idaho, like gas, everything, rent. So I went over there to try to get some, live someplace, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the area where I am, everything's so expensive.
Oh yeah.
And, I mean, they've got Amazon, Microsoft, all the.
They're saying that all the Californians are leaving, and the realtors in Idaho are just reeling in because all the Californians are coming up and buying, so they're just raising the prices on everything up like 50, 100 times. Because they're from California, they got the money, so they're gonna spend it to get out of there, and it's just crazy.
They're burning the place down.
Yeah, I hear you totally. Yeah, that whole coast. I mean, from Washington State all the way down. They're just it's insane.
Yeah, when I was in Europe in 2014. There was this one man, I can't remember his name, but he said that what they're going to do is in Canada, they have a huge store of troops, and they also have a huge store of troops in the interior, and they're going to come down. I heard they were going to come down to Canada, and here they spend all this time to the people coming from Mexico, and the actual brat is from Canada.
Well, Angelica, you're up in Washington State, and there are a lot of patriots there. I would be looking to get involved in patriot groups.
I just have no idea. Why do I do go to the NRA or something?
No, you can go.
No, and not the NRA. The NRA is, do not go to the NRA. Do not invest in them.
Yeah, they've been infiltrated.
They have been. Yeah, it's
by who they've been infiltrated by?
By the cabal.
It's a communist entity. They say it's a rhino entity. They say they're going to do one thing for you. They take their money, and they're with the satanic army.
Yeah. So Angelica,
I don't want to do that.
There's a different.
I recognize that that everything that I'm going through is the satanic takeover of everything.
It is. It's a spiritual war, like Nannette was saying earlier. It definitely is, Angelica, a spiritual war, and we're definitely, we are winning. We have the power. We just need each other.
Yep.
To make it there. I think.
Yep.
That's where it is. It's like, okay, how many of you are with me? And this is where we're going. Are you coming or what? And it's like, yeah, hell or high water. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm going because and that's just in a nutshell, that's kind of where we're at. It's totally a different entity than where I was, back 20, 30 years ago. Different world, different planet altogether almost.
Yeah. Well, this stuff actually goes back way further than any people know or believe. This goes back centuries.
It's biblical.
I mean, look back at the queens that used to bathe in blood. You think those are just myths?
They still do bathe in blood.
Exactly.
Look at the Hillary, HRC tape.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. This stuff has been going on for centuries. Those aren't just myths and tales. That actually happened, and there's a reason it happened for the adrenochrome. And somehow these sick people figured this out a long time ago. And now...
The white rabbit, as you said. The white rabbit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The white rabbit.
Yeah. So...
That's why you see this stuff with, in all these movies and the Hollywood and all this crap. You'll see the Alice in Wonderland entrails in all these different entities, the White Rabbit, the Cheshire Cat.
Dude, did you see Michael Jackson's court trial when they panned around the court and there was a freaking huge ass stuffed white rabbit in the damn courtroom?
That's interesting. I didn't notice that, but it's interesting that you bring that up. Michael Jackson's estate in his front gate and I don't know if you're familiar with anything about Q.
Yeah.
Okay, so in his front gate, his entrance is a Q.
Oh, no kidding.
Okay, let me add some more into this. So if you look at Princess Diana's gravesite, and you Google it, and you can look down, and you can see it's in the shape of a Q.
Well, so is John John's, isn't it?
Kennedy?
Uh-huh.
What are you saying? Yes.
Yeah, John.
And Kennedy, and I think Kennedy is Q. I think that's John Kennedy is the Q.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Just where things are at, and that this cabal took out his dad.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would be like, okay, motherfuckers, game on.
And I think he was.
Yes. And he has every opportunity to do whatever, and I think he is a wise enough cracker to get it done. So yeah, I totally see that.
I do too, and I'll tell you what, honestly, I had zero respect for Trump before he got elected. Of course, you would want him over the alternative.
Yeah.
At least he was only a misogynist prick. But when he took over the presidency, I said the first thing he's going to do is go after that pipeline. And what was the other one? There were two things I said he was going to do immediately, and it's the first two damn things he did. But then when I found out, like, what he was doing on all of this stuff, and then found out that he was a grandmaster chess player, I had no idea that he was a grandmaster chess player. And
well, are you familiar with
who is the Grandmaster chess player?
Trump?
Oh, he's supposed to have a really high IQ.
That's what I heard, even though he acts like a dumbass sometimes.
Are you familiar with the book, The Baron Trump Travels?
The what?
The Travels of Baron Trump.
Oh, yeah. I actually ordered... Yeah. I haven't read it, but I did get the one that's The Last President.
Yeah. Okay.
I got that one. I didn't get the other ones. There's like 3 of them, right?
Yeah, there's three books. Ingersoll is the one that wrote the books. Yeah. And it just so happens
He's
that...
supposed to be a super genius as well.
Yeah, and Nikola Tesla, who came up with the invention of time travel and this kind of thing, and then the government...
That's what they're doing in my case. And it's really frustrating because, it's hard for me because I'm not doing the time travel. And I've had people come in my life, throughout my life, and tell me things that were going to happen, But I'm not the one that gets to go back and forth, and change things. And I don't even recognize my life anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. It's because things are changing. I think things are just changing so rapidly. It's almost incomprehensible.
It's also because I'm a rare blood type, the Rh negative, and they did a lot of the experiments on the Rh negative.
Well, they do plenty on everybody else too.
You're a true blood member of the original descendant.
The
of
original
the order.
descendant?
The original descendant of the order.
What are you saying about the original descendants of the order?
Yeah, who's that?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's supposed to be AP negative.
Right.
Like
Not with the right. The positive gene is mixed with the alien entity.
Right. Yeah. Alien hybrid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and.
Well, this got pretty deep. I didn't realize I was going there.
It is. It's very deep, you know, and finding out more every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just exponential.
But I need to do something about my financial situation, you know, and to, you know, resurrect my copyright and to continue composing.
Right. So are you tied down in Washington? What are you into?
No, I just, you know, I'm just traveling.
I'm just saying because my company is hiring right now. We're in Minnesota. We're in the solar, a lot of travel just in the state, but they pay pretty well. If you're willing to move, they're, the company, unfortunately, on one side are into like affirmative action and hiring minorities and females and blah, blah, blah. And we really don't have any of females. So it'd be more apt to hire you. The company we're hiring at this moment. So.
Right. But the thing is that I need to file these cases. I need to retain my copyrights and stuff. And is there someplace that I could rent over there? It's just very, very hard to find housing here.
Okay, well, here's the deal with my company is that they would give you a vehicle, a gas card, and they would pay for your hotel for any of your expenses. Do the work here.
For doing what?
They just require 8 hours of work on site, and then the rest of the time is yours. But you got the hotel and the truck.
And what is the work?
The work, you probably not being in the electrical realm would be just an apprentice and just helping us out on the job sites.
Okay, like electrical apprentice?
I have worked construction in 17 years. I have experience working construction.
You have construction experience, then yeah, you'd probably get paid a bit more
I was at CIO.
Well, then yeah, you'd probably get paid more of a premium wage then. So.
I don't know if any of my experience actually applies.
I don't know. Can I give my information over the phone here and you can contact me, or
okay.
Then if you want to?
Okay, just a second. I'm walking my cat. Let me go get my paper. Actually, my whole property and everything is my intellectual property and everything is evidently worth quite a bit. They bought quite a bit of money for it, but. Okay, so your contact information is?
Okay, so I'll just give you my phone number. You can text me from there.
Okay.
How about that? Okay, so my cell number is 612.
Okay.
396.
396.
2631. Yeah, just get a hold of me. My name is Vlad, V-L-A-D, Vladislav. And if I can help you, I will. I'm willing to help out any of our patriots, and
Now, Vlad, have you heard about... Vlad, have you heard about... Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, old man that I was talking to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, can you pass on my information to him? I'd really like to, just have a conversation with him, talk to him, get to know him.
Yeah.
Seems like an interesting guy. But yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Shit, I forgot. Oh, dang.
I don't know, you didn't tell me.
I know, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, I was interrupted.
That's okay.
I don't know, we were talking about exchanging information and bringing each other up. What?
Oh, have you heard of peoplesrights.org?
Peoplesrights.org. That sounds kind of communist, but okay.
Do you know who Ammon Bundy is, right?
I haven't heard that one either.
Okay, have you heard of the Bundy?
Bundy's, yeah, the Bundy Ranch.
The Bundy Ranch standoff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was involved with that, actually, yeah.
Okay, Ammon Bundy is Cliven Bundy's son. They assaulted him during the standoff, and he got charges and all kinds of shit, and he's...
And the Black Lives Matter, the BLM, Bureau of Land Management.
Yeah.
I understand.
And, but Ammon has started this peoplesrights.org.
Okay, peoplesrights.org, okay.
And you go there and you join, and it'll tell you how many members you have in your area. What he's trying to do is get patriots together, and they have what they call a 10 by 10 plan. What they want to do is make it to where if you call out for help to your area, you'll have 10 people there in 10 minutes, 100 in 100 minutes, and 1,000 in 1,000 minutes.
Oh, this guy is, and he's my brother. This is that's exactly what I was thinking of trying to accommodate. This guy is 110% on top of it.
Right.
I'm so glad that this conversation extended to this point because, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yep. And the plan is you join your area, and they want each area, when it gets to 500 people, they want another group to start up. So that every group is a small neighborhood group. These are the people that live right around you that can respond with arms quickly.
Okay, what's it called again? Just one more time.
peoplesrights.org.
People's Rights.
And then you just sign up. And once you sign up and pick your area, then it'll show you how many people you have in your area. And then what's supposed to happen is that everybody does meetings. And it's supposed to be at least once a month. There's a meeting. And y'all get to know each other. So you know who's right in your backyard that has arms that says, I will show up when you call, Vlad. If somebody's coming after you or your property, I will show up armed.
Yep.
So,
I like it.
I joined them. I called one of the guys that's an area assistant. He spoke to me a little bit, said, oh my gosh, our state rep I'm going to reach out to her. He reached out, he got back with me, and he said, oh no, her daughter just died yesterday unexpectedly. So we're going to go to somebody else, and they're supposed to be trying to do something, to help me with my situation. And, I guess we need to figure that out. But he did text me back, and he says, where was it? I wanted to read you this. Okay, look, he texted me back and he said, Nannette, that was a brilliant write-up and summary of what has transpired. If you have another incident with the court or constable, call me directly and I will come over with a few of my armed friends. Intimidation works both ways.
Wow.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, be sure and join them. That way you can find out the people in your local area that are willing to show up armed. And you can begin to get to know your neighbors who are patriots. And that was the purpose of the whole thing, is to get us to know each other, work with each other, be prepared.
This is really just a fantastic call. I'm really sad that there's only 3 of us on it.
I know, and every week it's good stuff like this, and people are just missing it. I mean, I've put out some awesome information on jurisdiction and other things.
Well, maybe just a suggestion, just to change it up, just to enlighten the people around and get them in and just like tagline them on this kind of event like this. The People's Rights.org thing, and get them in on that, and then go into the rest of it. But just to like, okay, there's a lot of people out there that are like me, that want to, assimilate and, conquer and, be strongholds for their brother and sister and, uphold truth and justice and shine the light.
Right.
Just to get them engaged into that, okay, that's the idea. Okay, they're in, and then, okay, now go through the other things, the details that people want to, conquer. Okay, everybody has personal things, tort issues or, traffic things. And, for me, it's just just truth and justice.
Yeah.
Like your friend David. It's just like, he's totally my brother. It's like, we're just, we're out in the ozone and we don't have anybody.
Yeah.
We, the people are it. We're it. And, if this military doesn't, come through, but I think there's way more of us than there are of them. I always have. And it's just not going to be that they have the upper hand at the moment. But won't be long now. That's all I gotta say.
Right, exactly. And I think, educating the people is a big part of it. And like I said, I mean, I don't do LayLaw to make money. The website was almost up, and then they completely tore it up, the web builder, and I was like, what did you just do? And so I'm having to basically start over again with them to rebuild it. And, that's up to you. Everything that gets donated goes into the fight. Well, I mean, at the moment, I don't really need anything, but, next week I may be scrambling for a sandwich, I got Okay. Well, like I said, I've paid for everything on my own, and it's just getting a little tight right now, but I'm almost at the end. I think I'm gonna have it, but, yeah, to expand this thing, I'll tell you what I do need is, I need a mailing list. I forgot how much this guy told me it was gonna be. I was gonna get, I think, 10,000 names because I have 10,000 brochures I can send out. And, so I'll have to get back in touch with him and see how much was that mailing list. Maybe if you could help me with the mailing list. I've got the postage covered, and I've got the brochures printed. And I think when I can send these brochures out and get this website up, I think we can get a lot more people on these calls. And then, there's a lot more stuff that we can share. And, and then I even have counselors that if people sign up for LayLaw and they need to speak with somebody one-on-one, or they need help with their papers, I have all of my mentors who taught me law are willing to come in and be counselors. But, they are making a living, and I'm saying, well, if I can replace that, will you come here? Well, absolutely, of course I would rather do that than what I'm doing, And so I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can replace that income. So what we're going to do is we're going to give all the information that I've been giving y'all. We're going to give that free. All that's free. We'll give documents free and all of that. But if you need somebody to help you write papers, or you need to speak to somebody one-on-one, then we're going to charge like an hourly rate. Anybody can...
That's to be expected. Say, send me one of those brochures.
Yeah.
And I'll mimic what you're doing, and I'll spread it out in my territory and get, people, on board with this. Because the more people know, just the better off we are as a people.
Right. And yeah, listen, if the people don't know the law, we're never going to get a good jury.
It's funny where we're at right now. It's just, the whole idea is just to remove ourselves from the legal side of the precipice. And be a lawful community, and show them, hey, we're lawful, and we're not doing anything illegal. You, as a government entity, as this, so-called corporation, as a corporation being a so-called government entity, rather, coming after us legally when we're acting lawfully.
Yep.
We're not stealing, we're not causing, a damage.
Right.
In any essence of the law.
Right.
Lawfully.
Right.
But the legal script that they provide for us to go through, and how we have to go through the process, and their, how do I say it? Their procedural aspect of it. That's the whole. That's the whole line that they lay on, is procedure.
Yeah.
And here we are just trying to maintain, we're trying to follow that, and they don't even, correlate.
Yeah,
Because
they don't even follow their own law. And, another...
They can bypass it because they have their own legalese that say they can do that. Where, the normal lawful person can't, because he's not government, he's not, that entity or whatever. Okay, well, you prove that all capital name is me.
Yeah.
That's not me. Who are you calling to court? That's misspelled.
Yeah, well, and I mean, they don't even follow their
I
own.
brought that up, and I had a huge fight with that. That took a couple of cases to get that through, and they just rolled me right over.
Wow. Yeah, I believe it, because they don't act lawfully or even legally. I mean, in my case, they ain't even acting legally.
No, they're not. You're absolutely right. They are not. It's all about them covering for each other, and they'll do it in their whatever their legal realm, because there's certain they have a wall that they can go up to, because they're only ascribed to go up to a certain point with their legalese, under the lawful mandates.
Yeah.
But it's so corrupt. It's like I was saying earlier. It's unforgivable. It needs to be taken out and needs to be restructured ASAP.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't go on anymore. It just can't go on like this. We got to do something.
Well, everybody is going to end up homeless. They're asset stripping.
Yeah.
Those of us who had anything, they're asset stripping. This has cost me over $1 million.
I believe you. I lost my business. I've lost a wife over it. I lost my children. It's devastating.
Yeah.
And it's just, you and I are just a sampling of what it is.
Yeah.
Angelica, you too, I'm sure, many losses and, torts with your, copyrights and their infringements on that.
We lost Angelica again. She keeps dropping and coming back and dropping and coming back, but...
That's because they don't want her to hear the truth, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that a lot, block people and stuff like that. I've got some people that were calling me daily. Oh my God, thank God you answered. I was so scared I wouldn't get through. And then all of a sudden I hadn't been able to get her for a week. Haven't heard from her. Don't know what happened to her. Scared to death that I don't know what's going on with the girl. I know she's in Jersey and she's got a doorman. And I was thinking if she'd have just told me the damn building, I could have called her doorman. But I don't know the building, and so, but this is the stuff they do, but I think with things like LayLaw and people's rights, I think that's really going to turn things around, and what I want to do with LayLaw is, like I said, make it an institution. All I have to do is establish LayLaw as an institution that's well known and teach, get a lot of people already knowing the law, and once it's established as that it can carry on without me, I can get the hell out of here and go home. And I really want to go home.
I hear you there.
I know where I came from. I know where I was before I came to this godforsaken planet. And I want to go back home. So...
Right.
It's no death wish.
Getting everybody else on board.
Huh?
It's just get everybody else on board.
Yeah, all I got to do is establish this thing, and then I get to go home, because that's my mission. And so...
Do you have a personal contact, Nannette?
What do you mean?
Phone number?
I'm gonna get a hold of you, and you'll have all my.
Yeah, if you want to, give it to me through there. That's fine. If you want to text me through there, that's awesome. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
you'll have all my contact information. And I think we can do this. We can do LayLaw. We can do people's rights. I think Ammon came up with a great idea there. And that's what we have to do, and we'll get somewhere. So I hope that you come back, and, we're just going to continue to talk about these subjects and our cases and what remedies we can get, and share paperwork and share resources. And I really kind of thought that affidavit of life thing is what got Tomball to stop, because they knew before that I could and would sue. We called our truce and they were still giving me crap. Now is the first time they're not giving me crap. And
because they know you're alive, you're not a dead entity. They don't have a claim on you now, because before they could say, yeah, this is, nobody's here.
Yep.
No, you are there, and they have to recognize it. That's what I think. I think you're right. I think you're onto something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that kid's good, but we'll see. I mean, I did it. I've had a couple more people do it. Now, I do know people that have done it, and they still took them to jail. Of course, they did end up letting them go and dropping the charges. So, I've heard that even if you have a do not detain, sometimes the cops are just going to be assholes and detain you anyway and say, screw it, let the courts figure it out. But I think we have...
If they're ignorant and they don't know that they can be sued and taken for every penny and everything that they have, then once the first cop goes down, then everybody's going to be protecting everybody else and saying, don't touch that person.
Right.
Nannette is an untouchable.
Yep. And they do that if you give them enough flack. I mean, I had a friend that, she kept getting stopped and harassed and whatever, and she kept fighting them, and finally she had a friend that was a dispatcher at the police department, and she finally, the friend told her, said, hey man, I heard them in muster the other day and you came up. And she said, really? What did they have to say? And the dispatcher said, he told them if they saw you to go the other way. And the guy asked him, well, what if she's just broken a crime? And he said, I don't care if you see a bloody body hanging out of the trunk. What did I tell you to do? The officer said, go the other way. And he said, yeah, go the other way. And they have not bothered that woman since.
What city?
She's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Wow. North Carolina, even. Because that's kind of a...
Yeah, they're a crappy state, too. Yeah.
Wow.
And, so, yeah, I mean, if they know you're going to give them crap, that makes a big difference, I think. But I really think this affidavit of life packet does a lot, and it's through the Federal Trade Commission that I think makes the difference.
That's a lot of power in that entity. And that's where I think this really lies, is where the power is, the backing of the people. And, if you're saying FTC, they're like, oh shit. Or if you say IRS, it's like, oh shit, I don't want to mess with that.
Yep. SEC, right. FTC, IRS, they're just as afraid of them as we are.
Right. Yep.
So
you start filing that type of paperwork, and they're going to be like, oh, maybe this somebody has some knowledge that we just don't want to go there.
Right.
Open to all this stuff. I just, just looking for other avenues to, defeat the dragon.
Yeah, and I think at this point, with people like you and I have been through a lot of court and stuff, I think our remedies are going to lie in keeping going further up the food chain in the courts and
right, pushing the lawsuit, pushing, suing them and their families and other entities.
Yep, and push
get them to capitulate. Yeah, because it's like, oh, they got us by the balls, and we don't have a remedy for that. You know, and I think they eventually will, concede to us. So
I think pushing it through the courts, pursuing criminal charges, and the affidavit of life, that's what we've got at this point. And then
I think it's a big thing. I think you're onto something with that, because it's it's that birth certificate of live birth, however you call it.
Yeah.
I think that has a big deal with what's going on, with what they're into with capturing us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, CUSIP numbers, on and on,
Yeah, well, you know what? Hold on, I'm going to end off this recording.